Shalom Shabbat Yasha'Allah. We come to you this morning to present a hurricane analysis and a perspective of Irma and Dorian. Give thanks to the Most High for this privilege and this opportunity to be with you once again. As my concentration is a little bit better than when I did the last visit with you, the last video. So I'm going to read from my notes the information that I have to offer you. Our scripture lesson, or scripture reading that is from Isaiah, Yeshayahu, chapter 41, verses 8, 9, and 10. I suppose you can read it for yourself. But in 2017, Hurricane Irma, that was hailed as a monster storm. It destroyed many lives, vegetation, and properties, particularly in the southeastern Caribbean islands. And finally, when it was determined to enter the Bahamas, it was redirected. Prayers and scientific direct action removed Irma away from the Bahamas, and soon thereafter it passed off the scene of activity. Fast forward then to 2019, when near to the same month and time, Hurricane Dorian came across the waters, following a similar path as Irma. And when approaching Abaco and Grand Bahama, these Bahama Islands, it was forecasted to create havoc here in the Bahamas. Even until now, 7 months later, this February 2020, the death toll has not been determined. But the number of missing persons due to the storm destruction in the islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama has caused a hush of dismay among the inhabitants of both of these Bahama Islands. I want to briefly describe for you, for all of you in Yasha'Allah, and to the nations who might wish to receive it, briefly describing for you what happened to Storm Dorian, that was also forecast to spend the entire night of its visit to Grand Bahama as it left Abaco. It came to Grand Bahama, and as I say, it was forecasted to decimate the whole island of Grand Bahama. In fact, that was the purpose it was sent. The divine action against Dorian was that approximately 12 o'clock midnight hour, the Arch Malachim of Daniel chapter 1 appeared in the sky in the area west of Freeport Shipping Harbor and remained there for about 2 hours approximately, having his huge sword in his right hand pointed eastward toward the island of Grand Bahama. About another hour after his coming, let's say about 1 o'clock roughly, or shortly thereafter, the storm Dorian was reported to have dropped some of its wind force power, another 10 or so, 15 miles, it dropped. While the flood tides was rising and people who sensed the danger of this storm were stirring to find shelter still. Within the 2 o'clock hour, the storm dropped another 10 or more force winds of power, while the Ark Malachim stood as he first appeared in the sky with drawn sword pointed east toward and over Grand Bahama Island. In the 3 o'clock hour, about 3:30 roughly, as the storm dipped more of its power, the flood waters that eventually rose up to some 20 to 30 feet reportedly began to dissipate. The waters began to go down. And it was truly amazing to see that the directors of the storm became furious when they saw that the flood waters were going down. For this was opposite to what the destruction machinery wished to see. Remember now, Storm Dorian had been programmed to sit over Grand Bahama Island for the whole night of its visit. So there it was, pounding the island from east to west. But by the time of about 2 o'clock, the Ark Malachim of Daniel chapter 1 had disappeared. The action that he was sent to perform went on into the breaking of dawn. And the storm was still there, but being broken down. Hour after hour until daybreak, the storm continued its quest to seek to break down Grand Bahama Island and do its work with the population here. After hour until daybreak, then the storm began to shift its position and move away from Grand Bahama. By that time, it was really broken down. It was not known, or it is unknown, actually, the amount of people that went missing and are still unaccounted for. But like Hurricane Irma died and went away, so did Dorian. And pay attention to this. Like it happened after Irma, so it happened after Dorian. When that storm was finished, all the other storms were finished. You might remember that there was a forecast of so many storms that were supposed to have come, that were supposed to come through. When Dorian was finished, there was no more storm. And I can tell you that on the 23rd of September, after the storm passing, as the hurricane waters still were trying to raise other storms, the great dragon was shown beaching himself and being drained of his power. The storm Dorian had exhausted him, and he vomited up many matters that were being fought against by the ruling powers. So it's just a short perspective of what went on during the storm, and I suppose you can praise the Most High with us for his protection toward his people. So we give thanks to our Most High, Yahweh, and his Mashiach, Yahweh Shai, and his Robach, for his great deliverance unto us. We thank you.